All right, guys, you clicked on this video because you want to figure out how to measure a roof. Well, in this video, we're going to show you how to measure a roof without using one of these or one of these. Instead, I'm going to teach you how to measure a roof using either a laptop or a smartphone. And best yet, no need to climb on top of a roof. All right, before we get too far into the video, I want to tell you exactly who I am so you know who you're getting your information from. My name is Zach Blenkinsopp, also known as Zach the Roofing Maniac. I'm a licensed general contractor and roofing contractor in over 9 states. I'm also the owner of Digital Roofing Innovations and a U.S. military veteran. Now let's get started with the video. Okay, so you're probably wondering how in the heck can you get a measurement of your roof without having to climb on top of it, without having to use measuring tape and draw it on out on paper and do all the math? Well, the easy answer is we're going to show you in this video how to use aerial measurements. Aerial measurements are something we can use in 2021 and beyond. And basically the way it works is there are services that allow us to use satellite imagery to actually be able to measure for a roof. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about 2 different ways of doing this. There's the free version, and there's 2 different apps and programs that we use for that. We use either Planometer, which is an app for your cell phone, or Google Earth, which you can use from a smartphone or a laptop. Now, the paid versions are 2 different companies we've used a lot. Now, there's a bunch of different aerial measurements that you can pay for, but we're going to focus on EagleView and roofscope, which are 2 measurement services that we use here at Digital Roofing Innovations. Now, again, whether you do it paid or you do it for free, you're both going to get about the same answer, but of course with the free version you're going to have to be measuring it yourself, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of doing that versus with the paid service. All right, first we're going to talk about the free versions on how you can do these. I'm going to walk you through the programs using a share screen so you can see exactly how to use these. It's really simple, but this is the free way, and it's going to require you to do a little bit of work on your end before we move over to the paid versions. So the first program that we're going to use is actually Google Earth. Now, you may or may not be familiar with Google Earth, but it's pretty popular. So you need to just go ahead and install that on your computer. We're going to use this as our first measuring tool. This is completely free. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in our address up in the top left. For the sake of this video, we're going to use the address 1612 Tennessee Street in Sheffield, Alabama, 35660 for the entire video. It's one of my properties I own. It was actually the house my grandparents had, so this is the one that we're going to use. So as you see, Google Earth is zooming in on that address. So I'm going to zoom in and say, yep, this is it. And we're going to zoom on in, zoom on in, zoom on in. And sometimes when you zoom in too far, there's an issue, but we'll get into that in a minute. So what you want to do is go ahead and click on that very top right and go get the eye of the camera basically facing straight down. That's what's going to give us our best measurement. So now that we've got the roof in the center of the screen, we're going to click on the ruler at the top. We're going to select polygon, and then we're going to change this to feet if you're in the United States, and square feet. So I messed up, and we got to open this back up, got to move it out of the way, get this repositioned, and we're going to try to start measuring. Now, one thing that you're going to see in just a second is I actually am zoomed too far in. So I'm trying to kind of fix things a little bit right now and get this working again. So I'm kind of messing around, trying to put this back in, and you'll see my lines are about to cross even though I'm trying to square this up. And I'll explain in a minute how to get your lines straight once you have them drawn if they're not in a straight line. So this isn't just working yet, so I've realized that I've zoomed too far in. Again, that's something that happens with Google Earth, and sometimes you have to zoom out. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, cancel this out. We're going to zoom out a little bit. And like I said, it's easier to draw when you're close up, but sometimes it messes up. So we're going to start redrawing. So we're going to start clicking again on the perimeter of the roof. That's what you're trying to do, is you're just drawing a line around the perimeter of the roof. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We're just trying to get a good ballpark number on this. So once I have this drawn, I'm going to straighten up my lines a little bit. You can see sometimes when you click, your dots aren't exactly where they need to be. So I'm just going to move mine and get it a little bit better. And as you see, our total square footage is about 2,000 square feet, or 200 squares. That's what we use in roofing, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit. So the next app we're going to use is an app on your cell phone called Planometer. I don't know that it's on any computer systems, but for the sake of this video, we're going to assume that it's on both Google Play and on the Apple Store. I have an iPhone, so that's what we're using here. So we're going to go ahead and download Planometer. I have heard that there is a fee now with Planometer. I think it's under $10. I think it's under $5. It might be $4.99. I bought it a while back, but anyway, to get into the app, you want to make sure that you go into the option settings and you change it to imperial, and that you are changing it to feet and square feet. So once you have that selected, we're going to go ahead and click the search. And again, we're going to type in the address. Again, I'm using 1612 Tennessee Street as the address in Sheffield, Alabama. So boom, we've already zoomed into there. So one of the things you kind of want to do at first is position again the house in the right space, and you want to go ahead and click the trash can and go ahead and delete that pin. And then what you're going to do is you're going to select the pin over on the right hand side, and you're going to start drawing your roof just like we did on Google Earth. So all we're doing is going through and clicking, getting the perimeter of the roof. Now we already know that the roof measured about 2,000 square feet, or 200 squares, which again, I'll talk about the squares once we get a little bit further on the video. But we're just outlining the outside of the roof here, and we're going to double check with Planometer on our measurement that we got from Google Earth. Now, if you want to use two different services, you want to use Google Earth and Planometer to get your measurements, I would recommend that. And sorry, I'm doing the voiceover and my computer because it's having to process a lot of things at once. The fan's kicking on. So as you can see, we've got, let's see, 1983, so almost 2,000 square feet, or 20 squares, just like we had with Google Earth. So we've got about the same thing. So we can say both measurements, we can come and put it in the median and say it's 20 squares. All right, so now that we've got our measurement, so we've determined that the roof size at 1612 Tennessee Street is roughly about 2,000 square feet, but in roofing terms, we're going to use what's called 20 squares. So the way that you're going to calculate your quote-unquote squares is you're going to take your square footage and then divide that number by 100. So 2,000 divided by 100 equals 20. So if you hear how many squares a roof is, typically you'll hear, for residential, it'll be anywhere from 15 to normally 60 squares roughly. So that's your square footage, but roofers use squares. So again, that's 100 square feet. So this roof is, again, 2,000 square feet, or about 20 squares. Now we're going to do a little math here, but it's really simple, and I'm going to walk you through all of it. So the number we're going to use is 20 squares, and we're going to get our final number for how much material that we're going to order for our roof. That's how we're going to get our real measurement. Because one thing we haven't accounted for right now is our pitch. So right now we just got the ground square footage, but obviously your roof has a pitch on it. That's what helps drain the water off the roof once it hits. Unless you have a flat roof, then obviously you won't have to do this part. But if you have a sloped roof like most homeowners do, this part is necessary. So we're going to look at our roof pitch calculation. Now my roof is a 412 pitch. If you don't know how to get the pitch of a roof, I have videos for that. I will provide the card right up at the top here, so you can click this if you need to learn how to get the pitch of your roof. Now a lot of people can just look and tell if you've got some experience, and you can guesstimate a little here, but there is a way you can do it with your smartphone, which I've outlined in another video. So roof pitch calculation, we'll go through this real quick. Mine is a 412 pitch. So what we're going to use is this roof pitch calculator factor. So 412 pitch is 1.0541. So we're going to come down and multiply 20 by 1.0541, which is exactly what we have here. So we're going to say 20 times 1.0541 equals 21.082. So what we're going to do is we're just going to call this 21 squares. Okay. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to determine for our waste factor. So our new number now is 21 squares. Okay. So now our waste factor. Now my roof is a gable roof, but there are a couple of cuts on it. The roof that we're measuring at 1612 Tennessee Street. Now there's a few different roof types. Again, on our YouTube channel we have different roof types. If you have not watched that video and need help with this, you may want to check this out. But typically your roofs that you're going to see on most residential homes are going to be a gable or a hip roof. Hip roof has a little bit more cuts in it, so it has a higher waste factor. Now this is going to help you get your determination while ordering your shingles or your metal if you are doing metal on your waste factor. Now with shingles, this is mainly what this is used for, is your waste factor for shingles. Gable roof is 10 to 12, hip roof is about 15%. And if you have a really what we call cut up roof in the roofing industry, that's where you have a very complex roof. It's high pitch, it's got a lot of different angles in it. You're probably going to have more waste because there's more cuts the roofers are going to have to put on with your shingles. So on this one, it's really simple. This is a gable roof, so we're going to take 21 and multiply it by, since my roof has just a couple of cuts on it, we're going to do 12%. So that's going to be, we're going to multiply 21 by 1.12. We're going to pull our calculator up. So we're going to multiply 21 times 1.12 equals 23.5 squares. And that's it. Now this is our calculation for us ordering material. We're going to need about 23.5 squares to be able to re-roof this house at 1612 Tennessee Street. If you're wanting to know what the squares of the house or the square footage, it's actually about 21 squares now that we've added in the pitch of 412 onto the roof, and our ground square footage was 2,000 square feet or 20 squares. All right, we've looked at the free versions. Again, you're going to have to do it yourself, so it's a little bit tricky in the fact that you're going to have to figure out all this stuff on your own. Not a big deal, but again, it's just a little bit extra work. And these are the paid version. Again, we're going to be talking about EagleView and roofscope, and I'm going to walk you through how to enter in your information and use these two programs to get the measurement of your roof. Okay, so we're going to talk about the two paid ways of being able to measure your roof. Now, both of these are websites. Again, we're going to use EagleView and roofscope. These are two of the programs that we use the most and the companies that we use to do our measurements. Now, again, with Google Earth and with Planometer, you're having to do some further on calculations with your roof pitch, and then of course having to determine your waste factor to get the roof size. With this, they're going to go ahead and give you all your information. Now there's two different ways, and we're going to go through each one. There's a more detailed report which we'll look at, and then they have a cheaper report. So we're going to go ahead and look up the first one, which is going to be EagleView. So let's go this here, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly with you guys. Obviously you can follow along. If you need to go back, you can go back, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in an order. Okay, so we're going to use the same address that we used earlier. The stuff's already in here, but we're going to re-put it in. So at 1612 Tennessee Street, it's in Sheffield, Alabama, 35660. Okay. So I'm going to hit search, even though we've already got this in here. All right, so you can zoom in, and this is the same house. Again, at 1612 Tennessee Street, corners of Milner and Tennessee Street. Okay, so you're going to come over to the right. This is not a complex, so again, if you're trying to do like a multifamily or something like that, you can click this. Obviously, this is residential. Most of you probably watching this video is going to be doing residential, or are going to be using residential, excuse me, but If this is a multifamily or commercial property, those are options. Now, the select products, now you can read here. The premium roof measurements reports provide a 3D diagram of the roof, aerial images of the property, length, area, pitch, and notes and diagrams, as well as summary page with waste table calculations. Commercial properties include penetrations and measurements. Property owner reports and customized report covers are included at no additional charge and can be selected during the ordering process. So this is going to be a much more detailed EagleView or measurement of the roof. I'm going to show you what that looks like. The other one is probably most people that's watching this video is going to use the quick squares. Quick squares is a report used to estimate the overall area of the roof. For material ordering accuracy, contractors should order a premium report, which is available on residential properties. Of course, they're mainly wanting you to pay more money. Obviously, that's what they're trying to do. I'll be honest, most of the time on a small, easy residential roof, you are probably just going to want to do the quick squares. Now, if you have a very complicated or cut up roof that's got multiple hips and ridges and gables and a mansard roof, things like that, you may want to go ahead and get the premium report. But if it's just a very simple residential roof, there's nothing wrong with just going ahead and ordering the quick squares. So you're going to go ahead and click this, hit next, and it's going to let you purchase this. Obviously, we're not going to go ahead and purchase this, but you're going to submit your information. With the quick squares, you're going to get this in about an hour, so it'll be sent to your email that you put in. Pretty simple. You'll probably have to set up a profile on here, but it doesn't take very long, and of course it saves you on having to do all the math. Now when you get your quick squares, it's going to go ahead and tell you exactly what you need in terms of your roof size. So that's a very easy way to get your total squares of your roof without having to do all the math. All right, so roof scope, we're going to go down and click on this. And so here's the website. Now there's a lot of different things that roofscope has to offer, but we're not going to go through all this in the sake of the video, so we're just going to mainly focus on getting the measurement for our roof. So same thing, we're going to add in our address, 1612 Tennessee Street in Sheffield, Alabama. Okay. All right, so this is the location, so we're going to head from location. We know that we've seen this from the other corner of the Milner and Tennessee Street. All right, so there's a few different ways you can do this. I want to make sure that you guys see this because there's going to be a couple of different options here. So first thing we're going to do is click residential. It's a small property. Come over to the number of buildings. This is only one. Same thing like EagleView. If you're wanting to do multiple buildings, you can. And then describe your project, and you can just put a small residential building with, or that is located at the corner of Tennessee and Milner. This may just give them some additional information if there's a couple. If there's something difficult about finding the roof, or you're in a big cluster of houses and you're trying to specify which one it is, sometimes this is kind of like giving a delivery driver extra information. Now, there's two different reports that you can order directly from here. We're not going to talk about the siding or gutters or anything like this. Now, there's Roof Scope and there's Roof Scope X. So Roof Scope is a full detailed report like you're going to get from EagleView. That's the one that was $39 to $70, I think is what it was on EagleView. And then Roof Scope X is like your quick square. So that's going to give you just a quick idea of how many squares you're going to get, and you see the difference in the price. So again, Roof Scope is going to give you a very, very specific measurements. They're going to show all the valleys. They're going to show how much hip and ridge you need. They're going to show all the details. And again, I'm going to show you what that report looks like here in a second. And Roof Scope X is going to give you your basic measurement of the roof. But they're also going to include your slope of the roof and your waist. So you're going to have that information when they send you that Roof Scope X report. Again, most of the time, you guys are going to want to use the Roof Scope X for just quick squares. If you're, again, wanting a more detailed report, you can use the Roof Scope. Again, with EagleView and Roof Scope, they're both about the same price, and you're going to get very detailed reports with the regular, more expensive product, but a lot of times you're just going to be able to use this Roof Scope X. Now, I wanted to show you guys what the more detailed reports look like. So first, I'll show you the EagleView. So the EagleView looks kind of like this.
This is a federal government project that my company is actually bidding on right now. Again, you're going to get this detailed report. This is the building we're actually getting ready to bid here. So this large building here, and with the EagleView, it gives you all these cool satellite views of the property and stuff like that, which is nice. And then of course it breaks down all the ridges, the hips, the valleys, all the basically you're getting all your measurements. And obviously you can see it's a very detailed report. This looks like rocket science to you if you're not a roofer. That's okay. But it's a very detailed report. It tells you how your pitches and your area square footage. This is a larger project, so again, it's going to be a lot more detailed. But this is stuff for people like me to look at. But again, here's your total roof area, your roof facets, predominant pitch, total ridges and hips. So again, this is a very detailed report, something I need for a large commercial project like this. And again, this similar thing from the roof scope. You get your standard slope flat scope, but your total roof area, and you see this has 204.11 squares. This has basically 205 squares. So very similar. They're very accurate within, they're both within about 100 square feet of each other, which is pretty impressive on a property this size. So you can see how detailed this report is. But again, most of you guys are not going to need a report this detailed. This is not the quick squares of the roofscope X. This is the more detailed report, but I wanted to show you what that looks like if you need a more detailed report like this.
Okay, that's it. That's the paid version and that's the free version. Now at Digital Roofing Innovations, we go ahead most of the time and use the paid versions when we actually win a project and we're getting ready to start it. Mainly because we get all of our valley measurements, we get eaves, we get our rakes, we get an accurate measurement. We normally, on a big project, we'll normally buy both roofscope and EagleView and compare them. And it just kind of does everything for us. And for the cost, it's pretty reasonable. Now, of course, with the free version, a lot of times when we're getting ready to just look at a project before we do the pre-bidding stuff, we'll just take a look and see what the size is or check some measurements. But we normally don't actually do a project based on those numbers because EagleView and roofscope is just going to give us a little bit more accuracy. But there's nothing wrong if you're just a homeowner and you're trying to get a rough estimate of how much your roof is going to be in terms of its measurements, or you're a contractor, again, just trying to get a ballpark figure on a project. There's nothing wrong with using this. Well guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give the videos a big thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. If you haven't subscribed to Digital Roofing Innovations yet, here's your official invitation. Anyway, at Digital Roofing Innovations, we believe in using a modern approach with traditional values. Have a great day.